Hello, are we live? And we're live. And it looks like I'm in the pitch dark again. I don't know why it does that.
Hmm.
Anyways, how you doing, Jan? New England Planner is with me.
Hi, everybody. I'm doing
Yes.
great. Yeah, it does look kind of dark in there, but
Dude, it's just
just
the way
trying
of,
to.
it's the way of webcams. Like you could have the brightest room ever, and then it's like, nah, it still look like a dungeon. Here, I'll try to fix it real quick. Not that this is what people tuned in for, but we got ghost pipe articles pulled up, and that's gonna be fun because there's a couple I'm accusing a couple websites of trying to money grab and get some quick clicks on their ghost pipe articles. So we're gonna try to read through them and see if they're legit. And Jan's gonna help me. Can you see the screen? Is it working fine?
Well, yeah, I can see you.
All right, because I'm gonna start pulling up our articles.
Okay.
Hopefully, all right. Here is the best article in my opinion is the Penn State one.
Well, they're also doing the current research, first
Yeah,
time ever, biochemical analysis, which is going to take a minute.
yeah.
So
Their
it's
article was
important.
in July. Can you see this one by Science Daily?
Not yet. It's all black,
Is it?
but it takes a couple seconds.
Sometimes it does. Sometimes
Usually.
it doesn't. Um,
Yeah.
let me just try it again.
Yeah, there it is. Researchers trust the FT
It
is
just
what it
kicked. Look,
is.
it just kicked me out. Man, that stinks.
Yeah.
So
But anyways, we see a lot of. We were talking. I'll talk while you go ahead and search for that, because we were talking earlier about how even the articles, even just the cyber internet articles that are out there,
yeah,
they're still, they're very careful to say most tincture in, and still advocate, and people read that new to creating tinctures
yeah,
and think that that's okay to use 100 proof with this, and it's not. Yeah, I see it now. Medicinal uses of monotropium.
yeah. So here's one. Now they want you to download a PDF. Now this is written by. I'm gonna butcher that name right there. So I'm not even gonna try. But it looks like Riju Akao. I don't know if I'm probably killing that. This is research.
Article.
Yeah, this is researchgate.net. So I'm not sure, what the.
See, researchgate.net. It's like what you use in college to find, to get the source and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Okay.
So it's not. These are just submitted by students,
Yeah.
basically.
So
Most of these, so you can't really look at this as a legitimate.
yeah. So what I did before I searched was 2025. So I just picked out a bunch of them. Let's see what this guy's talking about. Basically known as ghost pipe or Indian pipe, non-photosynthetic plant with a long history of medicinal uses among indigenous peoples and herbalists. This paper explores in traditional applications, phytochemical properties, and contemporary relevance while also addressing conservation concerns. So, a couple things are interesting about here. Let's see. What do you want to look at first?
Phytochemical
Let's
properties.
see.
They
Oh
like
man.
they like to use big words,
Yeah.
because remember, this is somebody's research paper.
Then we're gonna look down. It's not a
So
very.
they
It's
want
not a
to
very big
use
research paper. Hold on.
they want to get the numbers count right for the
um.
words that they're putting in.
Yes.
But yeah,
I don't. I don't. Okay. Here we go. It says contains salicylic acid contributing to its pain effects. So that's all he says about that. Um,
hmm
it's
and
a,
what I like is what it talks. No, stay right there, or go back up where the Indian tribes are.
Cherokee.
It shows what Indian tribes used it for what.
Mm.
So Cherokee used pulverized roots to treat epileptic fits in children and applied plant parts to warts and bunions. I tried that with a wart. because I read that it could help, and it didn't do anything, to be quite honest.
So that might be a myth still, because I've heard with epileptic fits in children, but not warts and bunions. So
I think it helps the pain from bunions for sure.
Yeah.
I got one of those. But it's not going to make a wart go away, And don't forget, I trained down at Cherokee in the Carolinas.
Now, did they pulverize it like that?
Ago. No, they talked about how you can pulverize it to get the juice out, because the juice from the fresh plant is what people use for eye drops and things like that. So yeah, you pulverize it, but and of course the roots, because the roots are the most medicinal.
Yeah.
So, but they weren't. It says right underneath the creed, chewed flowers for toothache relief. The Cherokee did that too. All of them did.
And the Cree are from Canada, like way north. So I was looking that up. Mm-hmm. They're in like the Canadian territory, so I'm not familiar with that.
The Mohegans, we know where those are. Those are all through the Maine Maritimes and all through New England as well.
Okay.
Down to Connecticut, all the way down to Connecticut, even further.
In the Potawatomi.
Employed the root as a gynecological aid. What?
Employed.
I don't think I would be putting that any place near my hoo-ha.
I was gonna say the word employed. I think that's the wrong word to be using, my friend.
I think maybe for like,
I don't know.
If somebody had syphilis,
I guess
it
doesn't specify that though. It says specifically.
No,
I know it's been used to relieve, pain in that way, but not applied or employed. I gotta start using it. That.
Employed the methods. It does talk about the analgesic, the salicylic acid, which is the raw form of aspirin. Yeah,
I'll scroll down a little bit. Sedative and antispasmodic. Yeah. Used to alleviate convulsions, epilepsy, and nervous irritability. So nobody...
Look at how they talk about the harvesting method.
Oh, hold on. All right. Harvesting. Okay. Traditionally, ghost pipe is prepared as a tincture. Preparation and administration. Harvesting. Flowers are collected and immediately placed in high-proof alcohol to prevent oxidization. So they don't tell you how to harvest it right out of the gate.
And they're encouraging dirty catching.
The mixture is left to sit for several weeks along with the extraction of active compounds, administration in small amounts due to its potency. Some herbalists also prepare teas or infusions, so this is less common.
See, infusion is anything under high proof, which for this, the minimum you want to use is 151.
Yeah, that's
so anything under that is, it's no good. You're getting a lot of the analgesic, but you're not getting a lot of the other stuff because the lower proof doesn't have the ability to pull it.
Yeah, we always recommend high proof. Everybody is always asking about what they should be using or whatnot, and I know everybody has access to 80 and 100, and it's cheaper and it's easier, but the higher grade you go and the higher proof you use, the better, dude. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it.
Yeah, because you don't want to overdose your liver with salicylic acid, because you need to take more, and you wonder why you're taking 2 or 3 dropperfuls at a time. What you don't know is that the liver doesn't have pain receptors.
Yeah.
You don't know when you're hurting your liver.
No. And
you don't. So when you're dosing with massive, right? This is normally dosed, as we've talked about so many times, in drops, not dropperfuls, because of the salicylic acid content is 40 times the amount of one aspirin. So you don't take 3 and 4 dropperfuls.
Yeah,
And that's the main concern when
here's the other
using
concern too, is like they're still
lower
identifying
proofs.
the thousands of compounds in here, and we know it's relatively been safe in humans for small use, but like, you know, you don't want to push something, too far. That's all. Nobody's trying to push this far, and if you're trying to abuse it, it really doesn't do it like that. So
Yeah, it's a nervine. You don't feel head high.
So the last article, yeah, you don't feel a big head high. Sorry to cut you off again, but
No.
I'm on the new article. I ditched that one. That one, I would say, wasn't clickbaity. It was just a guy trying to maybe make a nice, little article for himself about it. But yeah, he BS'd around a lot of information that people need. So if they stumbled upon his article, they'd only get more questions to ask, in my opinion. You know what I mean? They'd be like, "Well, how do you harvest it?"
Some people they read something once and they look at it as if it's Bible and verse.
Yeah, and then
and that's the way to do it.
That.
Instead of, well, that's how come everybody's got to do their deep dives, not just for ghost pipe. This goes across the board for anything.
Yeah.
Any plant, any mushroom. You got to do your deep dives, and you got to do it reputable sites if you're doing it online. And listen, this is no joke. There's a big difference between tinctures and infusions and teas and things like that. You know? And so tinctures are always with high proof alcohol because you need the big guns in order to extract the optimal medicinal. So, but it's also, as we talked about before, to make sure that you're safe and that you got good long shelf sustainability, because if you're tincturing an 80 proof at the end of a cure, especially with ghost pipe that's loaded with water, you'll be lucky if you have 20 proof alcohol left in that tincture. What that means is it doesn't inhibit mold and bacterial growth. You have to have about 126, 130 approximately in proof in order to inhibit mold and bacteria growth.
Yeah.
And if people are out doing dirty catches, think of all the soil bacteria that's in the soil. And I don't care if they say they wipe it off. You can't see the microscopic bacteria that's on it. That's why you take it home in a reasonable time frame. Give it a quick water bath. You don't want to leave it in the water because you'll end up with purple water and you leach some good stuff out. So a quick rinse, pat dry with a Bounty, and cut up and stick in the jar.
There you go.
It's the best way to do it.
Yeah, we have that in our simple instructions in our Ghost Pipe informational group. So that is in our description of this video. Pretty much answer as many easy questions as we can in that group without having it asked a bunch of times. So we have a bunch of good people that are, able to answer easy questions. But these podcasts are a perfect opportunity to really like get a one-on-one with Jan or I and just ask us anything. Like we get the most random questions too. It's funny. But this article, so the last article, I'm going to give you a 10, scale out of 10. What would you rate that one? We'll do some ratings.
What, on the last one?
Yeah, I give it like a 3.
Well, ResearchGate isn't a reputable source.
You don't think it's a good article?
No. That's where college students, where you put up your research papers and you glean from others and copy and paste and make sure that you have your sites. That's what that's about.
So he did all right for himself, I guess. I mean, he didn't deep dive too far into anything, but it was all right.
No, not at all.
It was all right. Good job. Good job for looking at it. And there wasn't fake news in there. There just wasn't enough news. But it was strange seeing all the different uses for the different tribes. I think they all used it kind of the same way. There wasn't like this tribe uses it one way and this tribe uses it the other way. But
well, they've been using it in Asia for millennia.
Yeah, they haven't stopped using it over there.
And
over here in America,
it in Europe for just as long. So
yeah.
It's just here we're kind of a new country.
Yeah.
So it only goes back as far as when my ancestors came over in the 1600s. So
Yeah, Jan is kind
But
of like the bridge to people like me who just started learning about foraging in general 5, 6, 7 years ago, and she's been doing it much longer. So she's been around before before ghost pipe was cool, I guess, or trending. So it's nice to have somebody like you that's been, open and honest about it and use the use of it instead of trying to mysticize everything that goes into this plant.
yeah, it's the mysticism that surrounds it is just
Yeah. So this is
it's ridiculous.
it's
Is what
crazy.
it is. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
Huh?
I said, yeah, it's ridiculous. It's going away. There's not too much mysticism anymore, but there still is a lot
People
to
are
learn.
still, people still, there's always going to be that faction of the high hippies. I like to say that the plant actually called them.
Yeah.
Does a plant actually is audible? No. Do I believe that plant life is kind of like Avatar, where it vibes at frequencies and they send out chemical signals, and that's their form of communication? Absolutely.
They've proven that.
So that part is the stuff that, hey, rock your boat. If that's what rocks your boat, go for it. But don't bring that to a forum.
You didn't harvest your chicken of the woods under the beaver moon last night only.
I know.
To get the moon power and the specific rays that it sends out and calls to your spirit.
Dude, I didn't get any chicken of the woods this year. I wasn't out really looking for it because I still have a lot dried from last year. But
I know. Well, it's still nice to see.
Yeah, they're beautiful. You're the king of them this year.
I know. Pennsylvania, dude.
I haven't. Well, listen. Tonight we're getting snow.
Oh my God.
The odds of me, but it's still going. It's going to be melted. It's going to be like a slushy mess tomorrow. That's perfect for enoki and hen of the woods.
Yeah.
So you're still going to see a lot of hen of the woods out there popping in November. New Hampshire, Massachusetts, even in Maine. But enoki likes the cold. You're always going to find turkey tail. People will still find some reishi out there too.
Yeah,
it's going to start to be froze pretty soon. But
yeah, everything is going to be frozen soon. Here's I'll just kind of read this for a quick second. Blackberry Magazine.
Blackberry Farm. Well, they own a farm,
chefs.
So they're a business.
So their executive chef says a perennial wildflower known as Indian pipe is a welcome sign for forest areas surrounding the farm. When May apples die,
It talks about chanterelle.
Yeah, and the Indian pipe. See, this is kind of a lore because Indian pipe grows all the time. So you're going to find black ones in June. You're going to find black ones in July. They only live for a few weeks. So that's kind of interesting to me. As a sign that chanterelle mushrooms will appear in about a week. So chanterelles kind of appear around the same time. Usually you find ghost pipe when you're looking for chanterelles. Most people, or the opposite. So yeah, they go hand in hand. So that is, I don't know, that's kind of cool. See, if they know their land super good, they might know something like that. But generally speaking,
they're blooming at the same time chants are.
Yeah, mushrooms.
They're not at the beginning of chant season, though.
No.
You'll see them, mid to late chant season, right around July, when you start getting a lot of humid, hot nights and days, and you're adequately, got enough rain and didn't have a drought like we did this year. The rustlers are going to pop. When the rustlers start to pop, that's when you find the ghost pipe.
That's when you really know. So russula, not really May apples. I mean, I guess May apples.
No, May apples start too soon. I think in warmer climates, I don't know where Blackberry Farm is, but it might be a warmer climate.
And they also reference from this magazine, American Indian Magazine. Do you see that? I have it pulled up, not on our thing yet, but I want to see this article because I've never seen this magazine and it looks pretty cool. Let me share it and let me see if I can find what they're actually talking about.
They're talking about the Cherokee tail.
Okay.
That's all.
Yeah. Well, This is a big
That's
magazine. I don't have
everybody's
time to
heard that
find
one.
it, so I'm going back. Okay. So they go into this big thing about how the Cherokees would fight. They smoked the tobacco pipe, but continued to argue. Okay, this whole thing. The Great Spirit. All right, everybody, ready for the spirit story? We want to go through this?
No.
I don't want to go through it.
I don't. I honestly don't.
We just talked about all the mysticism. So here's the Cherokee began fighting with the tribe in the east and for over hunting area. The rumor is the great ghost pipe spirit of ghost pipe or whatever watched them and made them smoke the peace pipe, which is ghost pipe. And after 6 days and 7 nights, with their heads bowed, they all decided to send reminders to the people. The great spirit transformed all of the chiefs into white gray flowers that we now call Indian pipe. So that's a lore. A lot of people have like mysticism with seeing a single ghost pipe that's like extremely tall and larger than the others, and they call that the chief, and to not harvest the chief and don't mess with the chiefs. The great spirit placed a ring of smoke over the mountains. The smoke rests on the mountains to this day and will last until the people of the world learn to live together in peace. So that smoke will be there forever. That is how the Great Smoky Mountains came to be. Indian pipe is a member of the blueberry family and has been used as an herbal remedy for pain and other ailments. It lacks chlorophyll, giving it a plain white, waxy appearance that darkens with age. Waxy is a new term. I don't think it's waxy. You think it's waxy?
Oh, I've heard that.
I haven't heard waxy.
No, it has a waxy appearance.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like because the stamen is so strong.
Yeah. So they say Indian pipe may not be used in our chef's kitchen, but the unique plant is an exciting sign of new growth to come. Offers in her blah 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 blah. So they should be cooking this pipe up. You guys at Blackberry Farm, try it out. If you cook it, it cooks a lot of the medicinals out, and it's not like you get the effect, right? From what I understand.
You won't, but you'll still
get something.
You'll
still get something. But
and so in other words, you shouldn't incorporate ghost pipe into your cooking because you don't know what kind of dosage you're getting.
Yeah, that's it.
And especially with the salicylic acid. So is it safe for teas and things like that and infusions? Absolutely. I encourage everybody, because I know I said to put it in a water bath, don't leave it too long because water will get purple. If you do a water infusion with this, okay, and you take a couple good-sized ghost pipe, you don't even have to cut them up, but you can, and just stick them in a jar with some cold water. Make sure they're fully submerged. And check back in a couple hours. You'll see that the water is starting to turn an indigo. So it's leaching some of the medicinals out, but which ones, we're not sure. We know that water extraction is going to get you some water-soluble properties. And with this plant, because it's so loaded with water, and if you extract the whole plant, including the root, you're going to get some water diffusion that's happening, which would account for some of that purple color.
Yeah.
Okay, because there's osmosis going on, and they're trying to, the water and the medicinals are trying to reach an equilibrium. So all these atoms are flying around inside the water with the hydrogen.
Yeah, and
which ones are hydrophilic, hydrophobic? Because like they said, it's got a waxy stamen, and it does. It's very protective.
Waxy. I've heard shrimp-like.
Yeah.
I've heard cocktail shrimp. Waxy.
Yeah, that's what it's like. It's like, I would say that.
I think it's kind of like
it's like shrimp tail when you go to take the stuff.
It is kind of shrimpy. Like the top does feel shrimpy. Like if you had your eyes closed and you were feeling it, like the top of the flower, you might say shrimp. That's kind of how it feels.
That's a good analogy. That's a good analogy.
It doesn't feel waxy to me. You know what it kind of feels like? Really like fresh green bean or something like that. Right? I don't know. The stamen, it's like hard. It's not super soft like you would think. It looks like you could just blow on one.
If it's a good healthy plant that you've harvested.
Yeah.
Okay. And not a limp one.
Yeah.
And not one that tips are up. okay, and it's not desiccated, it's very difficult to break the stems by hand. That's why people use scissors a lot. You know, you got to get a point of egress. So if you got a thumbnail and you can bust into that stamen, yeah, of course you can. But these things will snap.
Yeah.
Like, you'll hear a pop.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, if you bite one and try to just rip it, it's like jerky. It's that tough. You would have to, like, you know, a good one, you'd have to really yank on it and break it, snap it with your teeth and chew on it. People chew on it like bubble gum, you know, for all that.
Yeah, for toothaches. Yep. It's great for toothaches. Is to chew some of the root, you know, especially. You know, it's good for toothache. So, you know, but you know, you get good healthy pipes and you're good. You know, that's why those big ones that are, you know, that they referred to in the other article is the Chiefs. Yeah. You know, I've come across lots of those.
Oh yeah.
You know, that are bigger than my hand. And my hand from middle finger to thumb has got almost a 9-inch reach. Yep. So, and they're way bigger.
I found a couple that
even the thickness of my thumb sometimes.
I have found a couple that they weren't in harvesting form. They were just big pipes, and it's usually late in the season. I find a big one, just one, and it's pretty cool. Usually they're red. I got the next article. This article it looks super addy and grabby and wants you to click on a bunch of junk, and HudsonObserver.com. Here's the title: Natural Connections. Here's to the ghost pipe, a plant that might just have sneaky value. I'm getting clickbaity. I'm getting vibes.
Yeah, it's definitely clickbaity, but Hudson Observer might be in the Hudson River Valley.
Maybe. I'm going to try to read this. I can't read this word. Chickamauga Unitarian Universalist Flower Ceremony. So he was asked to give a message to this flower ceremony, wherever that is. Sorry, I've just butchered a couple names in each article. Everyone bought a flower that they admitted that they admired in a bouquet. And each person left with a different flower. It symbolized the unique value of each person and the way we come together to create a beautiful bouquet. To illustrate this idea, I chose to talk about ghost pipe, previously named Indian pipe. People still call it Indian pipe. I wouldn't say previously named, but yeah. A plant whom I've been puzzling over a while and preparing the talk, I realized that I'd learned a lot from ghost pipe. At glance, we can tell ghost pipes are unusual because they are pure white. Unlike green plants, they don't have chlorophyll and cannot photosynthesize to transform water, carbon dioxide, and energy from the sun into sugars. Instead, they are classified as parasites because they take sugar from the russula mushrooms. They also take sugar and stuff from trees. So I don't think it's just the russula mushroom, correct?
No, remember, it's they tap into where the tree and the mycelium of the russula mushroom are exchanging nutrients.
Got it.
They steal the nutrients. They tap into that pipeline.
Yeah.
That's how, that's how they get their nutrients.
So if you see,
sugars. And that's why some are reddish, more reddish in color.
Yeah.
Depending on the time of year, because russulas are what? The russulas that they grow in, you know, symbiotic with are symbiosis. Sorry, is a red cap russula.
Yeah. So he's pretty on that. I would
sugars.
Yeah. He says it's pretty funny. I like what he says here. Sometimes I will tell people about this relationship and that they are indignant. And our culture loathes a mooch. Yeah.
Because it's how it gets its nutrients.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah, I like this article so far, honestly. Let's consider from another perspective. Russuli fungi produce beautiful mushrooms, will crisp white flesh, and caps in shades of pastel red. They can make their own food either. They can't make their own food either. Many mushrooms decompose dead wood to gain energy, but russulas have another system. The white threads of their fungal hyphae weave through the soil and connect to the roots of pines, oaks, and also the ghost pipe. They are much better at collecting water and nutrients in the soil. Relatively large tree roots share with the trees. In return, the trees give up to 30% of the sugars they produce through photosynthesis to the mushrooms. So, bit of a mouthful there.
Well,
But,
ghost pipe, in
yeah,
other words, because it taps into this pipeline that the mycelium and certain tree roots have.
yeah,
It steals the nutrients. And when you harvest correctly, you propagate the ghost pipe.
yeah,
You encourage it to get stronger and bigger clutches for the next season. Like I've said before, like daylilies, hemercalis, how you treat them just
Yeah.
like you would, you know, a pile of daylilies. You know, you're going to go from the outside concentric and go in. Because when that happens, ghost pipe is going to propagate more, which also benefits the mycelial layer
yep,
and the tree roots, because the tree roots will go farther and longer, and so will the mycelium.
yeah. And it says that
it's in harmony.
it's pretty cool.
So
yeah, this says that when a tree is down on sugar, it can pull from the mushrooms and help itself too.
Yep.
So it doesn't, you know, it's a totally good relationship that they have. If one's down, the other will bring it up.
It's
so
beautiful symbiosis.
You
How
need
they all
both.
work together, the three of them. You know.
Yeah, you need all three of them.
And it's like a great trinity, isn't it? Because you've got a plant, a perennial one at that. You've got a fungi. You got a mycelial layer, and you've got botany involved. Okay, for the tree. You know, so with the tree roots, with the fungi kingdom, and with the plants, okay, you've got three of nature's most important things besides water and air that we breathe, you know, all there working together.
Yeah.
And that's why you're going to find these more in boreal forests, you know, old growth forests, you know. You're going to find a lot more mushrooms in any boreal forest, by the way. You know, not just ghost pipe.
Yeah.
But
he doesn't mention that it's a perennial plant either. They're saying,
yeah, just like a lot of people say
flower.
Herbs all the time. What herb can I take to heal this? An herb is a plant.
Yeah.
It's a plant. You know, so it's just another term that, you know, people get confused with.
Yeah, so bit of dancing around there. It is a perennial. It will come back if you don't disturb the actual root ball down below.
Not that far down below either. By
It's very it's sensitive, and I don't see many articles talking about it other than the Penn State article. So that's where it gets real tricky. People don't like deep diving into the actual nitty gritty of harvesting details. Some of
the people that write about it too, they're not foragers. They're just
they're just citing things. Just like a mushroom is visible, beach flower, blah blah blah.
You know what I'd like to see people start doing with ghost pipe though?
What's that?
I really would. Okay, and there's probably people out there that are doing it. If not, you can start doing it.
Yeah.
If you don't want to take the ghost pipe for its medicinal value, it also has the ability to dye.
What do you mean?
D-Y-E. Dye fabrics, dye yarns, dye all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it would really dye some deep purples.
You could
ghost pipe tee,
yes,
tie-dye shirt. That would be dope.
A tie-dye ghost pipe shirt.
Oh,
hello.
Man.
You're very welcome, everybody. Don't worry. I just open source that one too. So for all the mysticism, hippies, anybody that likes tie-dye and color, just like we use mushrooms for color.
Yeah.
You know, there's one that's even called a dyer's polyform.
Yep.
You know, and so ghost pipe also has the ability to be used as dye and inks and all kinds of stuff. You know, if it turns water purple passively, there's your sign.
Yeah. So here's a comment at the bottom of this article. Is pretty nice to have here from person named Aaron. I understand the purpose of this article is metaphorical. However, ghost pipe is far from useless. It can also be used as a very strong natural pain reliever when taken correctly. I have personally harvested this plant, but would reiterate sustainable harvesting and occasional consumption may be done only after complete education. A very interesting plant indeed. That's a good comment. That comment came from somebody who knows how to probably use ghost pipe for a while. So that's what you would say if you're a ghost pipe user.
They also throw in there you have to be educated, which raises a little bit of flags.
I think you do have to have some sort of knowledge before just willy-nilly taking it.
Well,
I think that's what he meant.
That's a trend. Yeah, the trend that I meant, and
cover up your tracks.
Is in that is how it spreads plant phobia, and I'm not about that.
All right, let's try Cadillac News. Let's see here. What do we got? Looks like it's blocked. All right, existing subscribers, full on. See, here's another clickbait. A lot of these articles this year are just.
Listen, go to Penn State and see if they have any updates.
I'm getting all right. So they're out. Let's try. So Cadillac News. Let's go. Science Daily. Did we go over that? Here we went over that one. Washington Post. They're definitely gonna. Money grab. Look, they won't even show to you. Same thing.
Yeah, Washington Post is. Yeah.
And I can't pay money or whatever for an article and show it. So if you want to read the one on Washington Post, I don't know. Go for it.
I don't know if I call the Washington Post credible.
I don't know if I call any of these credible so far, other than the last one we're going to get to. Science Daily. Did we look at this? Science Daily
is another clickbait thing.
May 4th. All right, I'm just going to do a quick one. Despite long history, blah, blah, blah. Now with social media and the internet thriving and resurgence to harvest economic trade of this parasitic species, straight, blah, blah, blah. A research team from Penn State has taken the first step toward documenting the new status. All right, so there's an article about an article. They're quoting a bunch of Penn State stuff from Eric Burkhart. Blah, blah, blah. Social media, internet, primary source of information. Those are overwhelmingly consumed ghost pipe from tincture.
Of course, is primary over there at Penn State. However, the study author, Savannah Inez,
she's the real OG.
She's the doctoral candidate in plant biology, and her dissertation focuses on the specific chemistry and bioactivity of this plant. She's the reason, because her dissertation had to be approved by somebody,
says
by her
Inez.
professor. So really, she, as far as I'm concerned, she's a hero here. And there's too many times women are wiped out of science because of their gender. So I want to make a point to, focus on that. I really think it's
that's funny. Science Daily just did a recap on everything you're saying. And then they credit Penn State article, and then they credit Savannah and Eric, and I guess Joshua was part of that team.
Definitely Savannah.
So they're doing it right. Let's see if I got any more new ones. I don't, honestly, dude. What the few we read were pretty standard, pretty typical. There's no hard data in them. There's lots of a lot of people are just writing about it because it's cool to write about, which is perfectly fine. But it's hard to, other than this Penn State article, it is hard to find some science. New science.
Well, the thing is that if you use its correct name, Monotropa uniflora, you're gonna pull up some more stuff, more science articles, because ghost pipe is just a common name.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna pull up your science articles as much as if you use it.
And we're
Latin term.
Shout out to all the 4 people watching on YouTube too, by the way. Feel free to comment any kind of questions or whatever.
And if you've got a virtual private network like I do, you'd be surprised all the stuff that you pull up from global sources.
Yeah, that's a
lot of
a lot of
How
this
it's used in
article,
traditional Chinese
Yep.
medicine, all kinds of good
This
stuff.
article pulls a lot from Asian articles and actually old German articles too. Remember we were deep diving and I found
Yep.
so just sorry I'm scrolling a maniac. Here's the article everybody should be interested in. This is published in April, late April. So what is it, 6-7 months ago?
Yeah, April, and then they did a follow-up in May. And they
Yeah.
did, they did another one, I thought, this summer, sometime in July, where they said that they've uncovered thousands of biochemical markers
Yep.
of potential benefits that this plant offers, so much so that it's going to take them much longer to break down the biochemical analysis.
Yeah.
And I hope it's not that much longer because this is her dissertation.
The study is through 2027.
So she's going to need the research,
Yeah.
in order to finish that. So
one of the highlights here too is that she did. This is one of the, in my opinion, one of the biggest things, other than analyzing the thousands of compounds, is they finally tested it in mice. So it's the first time they've ever tested it, and it showed such great, I guess, results that she was recently, it was part of her getting an award.
Yeah,
for,
she won a.
It's
she
crazy.
won a big time.
It's all right here.
Yeah.
And everything is going to help her fund it. So I haven't really gone down the rabbit hole and bugged her on Facebook or seen if she has an Instagram or anything like that. That's I feel like that's not my place. But she's a big fan, and I'm watching from afar, for sure.
I think we all should.
Yeah.
Because you have such steady deforestation that's going on right now.
Yep.
Not just here in Maine. I talked about what I saw this summer when I went up to Aroostook County. How I saw literally hundreds of acres wiped clean. And man, did that make me mad.
Yeah.
But you've got places like the Amazon and, stuff like that where they're wiping out forests. And we haven't even been in there to find out what's in there that could probably help.
Where I used to grow up, they wiped out
there's
everything.
A lot of things in nature that can help a lot of people. And
yep.
So this kind of information is vital, because if in the future this ever did come to, what if it's a cure for cancer, for crying out loud? If you apply topical. They had an 8th grade kid, some kid that wasn't even graduated out of high school, created a soap that you could put on topically, and it destroys skin cancer.
That's crazy.
So if a kid that hasn't even gone to college can find things in nature to help,
that just tells me that these people have had the answer the whole time, and they're just not putting it out because they're trying to make money off all this shit.
Big pharma.
There
Big
you
pharma.
go.
I told you the basis of almost 99.9% of any pill that's out there, it's a mycelial base. That's what holds everything together. So they give you 1% of what could actually cure you, and pack it on with 99% synthetics and made up chemicals that'll kill you, basically. So
Ghost Pipe's a big pharma enemy, dude. They don't. I mean, the quote air quote big pharma would not like this plant to come out and be a lifesaver like it possibly could be.
It's unbelievable. It can reduce cortisol levels.
Yeah.
Only because it works so great for people with anxiety and panic attacks. You got ADHD, you got OCD, you got tinnitus, you got menopause, hot flashes, whatever.
Now you got withdrawal symptoms too.
Sleeping at night. Yeah, you have a hard time sleeping at night. You take your Ghost Pipe. The issue with Ghost Pipe is that there's no standardized dosing, because not everybody tinctures this appropriately.
Yeah.
If everybody used 190 to tincture this, we could give out certain guidelines. However, then you got to think about the flip. Did they harvest the best ghost pipe of the clutch? How did they harvest?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of intricacies involved.
It's more intricate than any of these articles have ever written. That, like, as far as making it the right way and the correct way, and bringing back the standard that was around like in the 1900s, like early 1900s.
That my family brought
the
folk standard, so the folk method.
Yeah,
so
we're trying to go back to that.
Method,
Everybody is just doing their own thing, which is cool. I'm not going to police you, but dude, with ghost pipe, like, high proof is key. And I'm someone who used 80 and 100 before, and I did think it would pass by and okay, fine, yeah, this is cool. But when I stepped it up and harvested, like, I call it
Have you tested any of your batches from your harvest this year?
Oh yeah.
Way better, isn't it?
All of them.
Yeah.
And people say, oh, the alcohol tastes worse or whatever. Dude, it kind of tastes the same as it did with 80. I'll be honest with you. It's alcohol. It burns you. If you don't like the burn, don't put it on your tongue. I don't know. That's a whole different topic. But
you're not supposed to put it on your tongue. You're supposed to put it under your tongue.
Yeah, exactly.
And you only hold it for 30 seconds. Trust me, you're not going to get a burn. The burn is felt when you're not holding it under your tongue, and your salivary glands aren't pumping spit underneath there. Okay, that's what stops it from burning. And then people end up getting. I do want to touch base while we're talking about this dosing on how unique individual dosing is and how vital it is.
Yeah, let's talk about dosing.
You've got to get your individual and very unique base dosage down. And that can be done within 20 minutes. But because people are, you got a lot of newcomers to Ghost Pipe, they don't know how to take it. Facebook Messenger has live video chat. So, I've done it with a lot of my new clients to Ghost Pipe. I sat right there and I watched them take it. They wanted a little bit of hand holding, and that's okay.
Yeah, because it's intimidating for people the first time.
Yes, and new things can be scary. And they've heard so much conjecture about this. How, it's toxic, the grain of toxins. Yeah, nobody's dying from blueberries. Same family, same grainotoxins.
Yeah.
So, but it can be scary. And you and I get that. You and I understand.
Oh, when you first sent me yours, that was the first time I'd ever taken a tincture that somebody else made, because I've always made my own. And I was like, okay, here we go. Like, not like hope it doesn't kill me, but I was like, oh, this is, and a friend of mine was like, I was doing a product review for you actually. And my friend was like, dude, are you going to product review everybody's stuff? And I was like, dude, if they're legit and I trust them, then yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it was great. And ever since then we've been friends, like good friends. So thanks for putting up with my bull crap.
Sometimes I feel like I'm your mom.
Nah, don't say that.
Earlier a little bit, but it's been wonderful learning. It's been wonderful being able to educate others. Yeah. I've been doing this for well over 40 years now, and my grandsons hopefully will take over the business after I'm gone. But this is very much, what my family has done on both sides of my family. My mother's side and my father's side since the 1600s, and prior to that, we brought the folk method here.
Well, I appreciate you sharing your knowledge. So,
listen, I'm nobody special.
I'm here to listen,
guys. But I'm nobody special. No. I'm just an old broad in Maine, and that's it. And what's funny was a couple weeks ago there was somebody that was arguing in one of the forums. And they thought that they were insulting me when they fired back by sending me PMs, calling me nothing but an old broad. And I started laughing because I'm like, oh, this person has to listen to our podcast.
Yeah.
I know they do. Because I've said that a million times.
I don't like when you call yourself an old broad. I find that I don't like when you say that. I've told you
that. Well,
I'm
just I'm just an old lady that
Oh,
lives in Maine.
man.
Has been doing this a long time. But I'm not that old in reality,
No.
you know, and I certainly don't look like I'm almost 60, and that's due to, you know, good, clean,
Taking
healthy
care of
eating
yourself.
and taking tinctures. Yeah, taking care of yourself.
So I just want to point out this one thing, and then we'll wrap it up, or unless you want to talk about something else. But this map here, this was the survey they did like 2 years ago, and you can see how popular ghost pipe is in Pennsylvania specifically, and up here in the Northeast. So little pocket out west too. It's popular there, but I mean Pennsylvania is really taking the cake.
Pennsylvania, Maine,
Yeah.
Vermont,
So it's really popular in
New
our
Hampshire,
area,
Connecticut.
and there's a lot more people to be, you know, it's a little more normalized. It still looks, people still look at you with 10 heads when you say, "Hey, have you ever heard of ghost pipe?" They're like, "What?" But
Yeah,
we've
you
been
know,
spreading a
it's
good
odd
good
because
word about the ghost pipe the past 5 years in PA. So I feel like hopefully I've connected with a couple of these red dots.
Listen, I did want to talk about in the Practical Foragers group.
Yeah.
One of our OG regulars, Megan, she owns Misfits Mini Farm, the Misfits Farm there. She posted and she wanted help with an ID on a mushroom yesterday.
Okay.
And two things I noticed right away.
Let's see.
One was that the cap and parts of the stem looked like there was some pale blue. The other thing I noticed, and only because I know where Megan's farm is in the area,
I'm looking at
is that she had black suede gloves on, gardening gloves. When those get wet, sometimes they can look like it leaves blue staining on something that's very white.
Yeah, I got to pull it up.
But yeah, so I looked at that and I could appreciate the blue a little bit. So, and it kind of looks nipple-like at the top, but it's an awful big one.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm talking about psilocybe cyathins. Because the thing that, see how blue that is?
Yeah, I know.
And I couldn't tell if her gloves are really wet, because I know we've gotten a lot of rain lately, and sometimes that could do it.
And then here's the other one she had. This one doesn't look blue.
That looks like a wavy cap, and that is a trippy mushroom. And she said that so I asked her, because you see the stem of the mushroom that she's holding there.
Yeah.
It looks a little bluish. So I asked her, does it bruise when you squeeze it? And she said it does. And that's when I went on to say, well, listen, there's, things that blue, it's usually because they got psilocybin in it, and, but those look like some really good, healthy psilocybin.
They look like fat cyans. I don't know. It's
right. It could happen. Remember, she bought a farm.
I know.
She came up from Florida. They bought a farm. It's in farming area.
It's growing out of these leaves just like it would out of wood chips or something too.
Yeah, and
man.
Those are birch and beech leaves.
Yeah.
So you look at that, and then you say,
I've never found trippy ones. Let's see. Here's another good. Here's the best picture. But
listen, there's a russula that they call a yellow knight.
Yeah.
And in Europe, people eat them, and that's what I thought at first. But remember, here in Maine, we've had drought. Then we had some rain last week for the first time, and so the cap color could be affected by the drought and the extreme rain that came and caused it to bump up. But I don't know. I'm actually a little stumped on this one.
I'm stumped. I can tell you a bunch of stuff it looks like, but
I told her. Look at, you can see the mycelium thread right at the bottom. So,
see that?
I mean, that's a good catch. But the bluing, no.
Yeah, it looks pretty blue.
There's an indigo milk cap, and it's a milk cap family, and it's round and it's way bigger, and it's very strikingly blue.
Yeah.
You can't miss it. It doesn't have like the camel the fawn color that's on the cap of this mushroom. So, I look at that and I'm like, yeah, that's definitely not an indigo milk cap. And I could tell by the structure and, the gill structure, it looks like, it could be a Russula, brittle gill. But Clitosopy is also booming right now.
Yeah.
But again, those don't have brown tops. They're usually mostly white. That's an Amanita.
Yep. This is from our group too. So these are popping right now, I believe, as well.
Amanita muscaria gasawi. That's that one. But they're trying to change. They were trying to change the name to Chrysalobena, but it's pretty much staying gasawi for now because it hasn't been published yet.
Yeah, this mushroom is being used by a lot of people.
Yeah, that's a different kind of trippy mushroom. But Amanitas, and you got to know how to ID your Amanitas too.
Yeah, I tend to not try to give people advice how to process this, but you can look it up. People are more than open about making tinctures and cooking with it and all these different things. I personally have no interest in using it. There's a chemical called muscimol is what they're trying to get out of it and use that. And you see a lot of muscimol.
Well, you have to transmute ibotenic and muscimol.
Dude.
But you do that through processing and through drying it till it's cracker dry. But now Amanita muscaria is not a psilocybin.
No.
Psilocybins are highly illegal. You can't even possess them here in Maine. Okay, so that's why you see so many foragers out there going out cow patties and things like that. But the funniest part is you find them growing on court steps lawns. Imagine that.
Yeah, you find them in mulch piles all the time.
Yeah, Paul Stammy tells a story about it. But this is a different kind, and this is used in conjunction with therapy, with a psychiatrist. It treats PTSD and all kinds of great stuff.
Well, I know these
same thing here.
These over the
it's go ahead.
These over the counter mushroom, like chocolate bars and vapes and all this other stuff. You're smoking muscimol. You know what I mean? That's what they're putting into all this stuff. Just so everybody knows, like when you're buying these like over-the-counter mushroom chocolates now that you get at like a vape shop or a smoke shop, there's no psilocybin in it, but there is muscimol. Because when you do the lab reports on them, that's what they show. So
it shows that on the ingredient.
Not on the chocolate bar.
Well, I remember I told you that story about I bought 4 flavors. I bought every flavor they had of a chocolate bar.
These advertise they're like trippy.
No, they actually have the ingredients on the back.
No, these are advertised. These are advertised as they'll trip you out. Eat 1, eat 2, eat 3. They're like over-the-counter magic mushrooms. Treehouse makes them. There you go. I don't really want to advertise them.
Psilocybin.
There's no psilocybin. When you look up the lab report, it's muscimol.
Yeah, that's Amanita.
Yeah, so that's what they're using. They don't tell you that they're using that.
Well, then how did you find it to look it up?
Because they have a lab report. So it's in the lab report, but they're not putting it on the packaging.
Oh, I got it. They're not putting it on the label.
You know what I mean? It's the same thing as you buy like a Delta 8 vape. It doesn't tell you that there's aluminum and all the other metals in it unless you buy one that doesn't have a lab report and you can't look it up.
Well, remember I told you I bought the same kind of chocolate bars.
Yeah.
I ate a full entire chocolate bar. I felt nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. Now, in our family, we have very high pain thresholds, and we manage our body pain, and we can't take regular drugs. In other words, we take pharmaceuticals. Like I told the story before, how I took a Tylenol 3 one time. I thought I was going to die. I literally thought I was going to die. And that was just one, by the way. But so I know my body, the chemistry processes things really quick, which could be probably why. So when the bar said to take 1 square. I took 1 square, 20, 25, 30 minutes, nothing. I took another square, waited another 40 minutes, nothing.
Yeah.
So finally, I just took a whole chunk off, and I waited about an hour just in case it was one of those holy doses or whatever. I got nothing. I ate the whole bar in one night. I didn't even sleep better. I didn't have any vivid dreams.
That sucks.
Nothing. I got nothing. So how long are they active for?
It depends on how much you eat.
That's what I mean. I ate a whole bar. So what I mean is, in the shipping, or does it need to be refrigerated? Does the active compounds get diminished over time? Things like that. It's not like buying pop brownies that your next door neighbor.
No, it's what they make them with is I don't know how they get the muscimol. Maybe they get it out of the amanita. I'm sure maybe they do, but they don't tell you.
Have to.
Well, they don't tell you. They're not like, this is from the amanita. It just says,
Well, it's the only thing it comes from.
Well, I don't.
Muscaria,
that's
muscaria.
And it's a very little amount, so it's like they're barely giving you any of it. I mean, to me, it on a data sheet, it looks like a small amount, but I don't know. That just tells me people are doing crazy shit. Like, are they growing Amanita somewhere? They have to be if they're using them like that. They're using lion's mane too, so I know they're growing that.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, amanitas. I don't know. I'd have to dive into that.
Do you know, like, if you grew them, do they still have that? Do they still naturally produce muscimol that you can extract, or it's pretty crazy?
Listen, wild forage is always going to have the most medicinal. So even if you cultivate and you grow. I don't know. Can you even cultivate amanitas?
I don't know. It doesn't say. It doesn't. I'm reading the label right now.
Yeah, you can cultivate amanita.
There you go. That's what they're doing.
Well, you can pretty much cultivate anything nowadays if you get a good spore culture, with the exception of things like trumpets.
Here's all it says.
Certain mushrooms you can't regrow, just like you can't grow ghost.
Yeah, it says proprietary neurotropic mushroom blend, 22.5 milligrams and up. So they're not saying, like, they're just saying mushroom blend, and then in the other ingredients, there's nothing.
Weird.
So on the front of it,
well, it's non-FDA approved. So
I know. On the front of it just says magic mushroom blend. That's all you guys are eating.
Well, it says here, cultivating Amanita muscaria in controlled settings is essentially impossible due to its specific ecological requirements.
Yeah, dude. So how are they getting it?
This is an article written by Amanita Dreamer, and she's very well known.
Yeah.
For her YouTube videos and stuff like that.
So, do you think somebody could make muscimol in a lab somewhere? Maybe. I don't know.
Listen,
that's crazy.
I think anything is possible. Anything is, but it needs that nutrient exchange. It needs a tree root system. It needs a mycelial network that's underneath, and that you cannot recreate in a lab or in a grow tent or anything like that. Because a tree provides a fungus. It provides the mushroom with the carbohydrates, the sugars, and all these other organic compounds. That they produce through photosynthesis. So
yeah, it's the only.
And she talks about that. So
I'm doing research. All it says is muscimol is primarily found in Amanita muscaria. So and pantherina. I guess that's the
Amanita pantherina is the one that's kind of like a little beigey.
Yeah, it's like beigey. I've actually found that one way more than the other one. Yeah, I don't. Muscimol is, that's. I'm not going to say they're hiding it, but if you went down to the store and said, "Hey, I'm gonna take trippy mushrooms," well, it's really just muscimol. When you're taking the other trippy mushrooms, you're really just taking psilocybin. So I,
Right.
I just feel like people don't know what they're taking
So
when they just eat the chocolate bar.
No, you
And then they
know
don't
what you're
trip,
getting.
and then they feel nauseous,
don't
and
know what you're
they
getting.
feel weird, makes you feel drunkish. Yeah, I have no interest in trying it. Now, I would maybe try it, like if I knew somebody like the Amanita girl you just spoke about, and she was like, "Here, just try this little bit," I would try it. But on my own, no way. I'm not.
Amanita Dreamer.
Yeah,
Listen,
that sounds cool.
I collect these whenever I see them.
Yeah.
Because I think they're beautiful.
I think
Number
they're
one,
cool.
they're huge and they're beautiful colors of orange and yellow and stuff like that. And on the West Coast, you get the red ones. The red ones with the white patches. Here on the East Coast, you get the yellow, orangey ones, and they're with the white patches. We don't have the red ones here, but there was a time a couple of years ago that it was a really good foraging year, and I was in the upper parts of New Hampshire, close to Vermont, and I found one that looked like it was red.
Oh,
And
Pantherina?
There was no an Amanita that you would only see on the West Coast. The orange was so concentrated, it literally looked red.
Yeah.
And other people had started to find them, and I know that iNaturalist, and I know Alan Rockefeller. Somebody big said you should get that genetically sequenced because
Look
the weather's
different.
been crazy, and
That would have been cool.
But,
name your Odin Jan mushroom.
No, I just wanted to find out if the species was coming.
Yeah.
Due to I can't even say it. Meteorological changes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Okay, and there is my piece de resistance in the last 2 weeks, the shaggy mane.
Yeah, tell me about this one.
Those are shaggy mane. Those are coming up. That's what people, back in the 16 and 1700s, they actually, and I made this post on our page too, where they used it for ink, and it was a way to discourage forged documents, because under a microscope you could see the spores of the mushroom in the ink.
That's cool.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
So they'll like dip their pen in the mushroom almost, or they make like some kind of liquid out of it?
No, it turns into ink literally within an hour.
That's cool.
This picture here, I left my dooryard and I was gone for maybe, I don't know, 3 hours.
Yeah.
I come back and this monster was there. It wasn't there 3 hours earlier. That's how quick they come up, and they literally turn to ink within 3 to 4 hours. Because if you see this picture here, you see how the bottom, it's not like a really tight fit around the stem of this mushroom.
Yeah.
Okay? That means that it's already starting to go. And you can see, and when it starts to ink up, I mean, it literally will go to ink overnight. And you'll find like these black blobs on the ground. But back in, colonial times, people actually used the ink from this to use as writing ink.
That's cool.
There's even a theory out there that the original, Declaration of Independence, they used shaggy mane ink for it.
That would be dope.
So, there's lots of uses for it, but it's great to cook when the bottom part of the cap is really tight around the stem when they're really younger. You slice these right up, you cook them right in the frying pan with some butter, salt, pepper. Some people use onions, garlic and things like that. But when you're trying a mushroom for the first time, before you go ahead and you add stuff, especially with this one, you don't want to use alcohol when you cook with some mushrooms. And, there's a lot of people out there that confuse this one with another one, and the other one, you can get really sick when you have it with alcohol. And some people get sick with this one with alcohol too. So,
Yeah.
always do your research, and before you want to see if a mushroom is edible, do your deep dives, find out what you can have with it, what you can't, what most people use it for. Search YouTube, stuff like that, or ask us in our group. We're happy to help
Post it
you.
in the group.
But yeah, there's a beautiful shaggy mane right there.
Yeah.
And it was really wet that day. It was raining, and
It looks fresh.
Well,
Huge.
when after I go foraging and after I've done my studies and I've drawn my pictures and I've gotten all the information, I've done my spore prints, things like that, everything I want before, as I'm learning about a mushroom, this is just one of those species that is pretty.
Yeah.
And it's very striking to come across because it looks like a bunch of that SNL skit with the eggheads. That's what it looks like. A bunch of
It looks like a shaggy dog. Yeah, like Shaggy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was really rainy that day, so a lot of those pieces that looked like a shaggy, they literally just like stayed in my hand.
Ugh.
Stuck right to my hand because it was just so wet. But yeah, I cut it up, and I fried it up, and I ate it, and it was good.
I've never had it,
the
so
bottom,
I know where they grow
the
though.
bottom part of, yeah, they come up this time of year. Usually around October, November. You'll see them in New England a lot.
Well, I appreciate everything you do, and thanks for finding that big shaggy mane. I think we're gonna wrap it up soon. If that's cool with you, we're at like an hour and 10, hour and 11.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Listen, everybody, thanks for listening to our jibber jabber today.
Yeah.
And, join us on the Practical Foragers group on Facebook. We're happy to have you. We're going to be migrating over to the new forum over the next few months, as we stated before. Make sure you eat your mushrooms, you keep your hands to yourself, and you be kind to one another, especially yourself.
Yep, and I'll see you on the next one. We don't have a weekly schedule yet, but we're just going to do them as we do them. So there might be 2 or 3 in a week, and then not a couple for a while, but we're going to do as many as we can. So get ready to hunker down. I'll see you later. End stream.